I think it's an exciting subject if we talk about science parks, because I really believe that that will be one of the new asset classes which we will have in Europe. And if you go 10 or 15 years back, we didn't have in Europe a logistics real estate asset class. We didn't have parking as an asset class. And all these elements came up, were interesting enough for a lot of investors and became a separate asset class with their own magazines and their own indices and their own funds, etc. And my expectation is that will also be the case in science park or research park or innovation campuses. There are a couple of different words for more or less the same. Because basically what you want to do is combine interesting companies, technology-driven companies, whether they are in life sciences or whether they are in high-tech and IT. You want to combine them with technology parks, but also with real estate investment, because then you have a fantastic combination. Because at the end of the day, you want to have a profit concept for a number of people. The companies you saw on these and the previous slides are clients of ours, but at the end of the day, this is what you want. A science park is only profitable if it's profitable for 4 partners. The entrepreneurs, the tenants, whether they are startups or companies coming from the US or Asia, interested to invest nearby, a university, a know-how, a pillar of know-how, or whether it's a university, a medical hospital, or whether it's a large institute. Because the entrepreneurs, the companies are looking for faster innovation for a vibrant environment. The university, which sits on a lot of know-how, wants to transfer that knowledge and has, in many cases, also land available which could be commercialized. The real estate investor is looking for growth, profitability, long-term, because if you talk about science, that's not for a late afternoon, that's long-term, and that continuity is important for them as well. And the city and the regions try to benefit from growing companies, whether these are small spin-offs of the university or larger companies who are looking for a specific ecosystem, and that will boost the economic growth and jobs in an area. So successful science parks can have 4 perspectives. Successful for the entrepreneurs and the tenants, success for the real estate investor in terms of yield, success for the university in terms of commercialization of research and knowledge and know-how transfer, and successful 4th perspective from the city and region. Now, I mentioned already, science park has various connotations. We talk, if you look to the literature, but also if you walk around here the floor, I visited this morning and yesterday a couple of German cities which have also science park developments, and you see science park, research park, technology park, innovation campus, more or less the same. But they should all, 4 criteria should be applicable to parks to name them really a science park. One is there should be a strong focus on R&D and knowledge-intensive industry. So R&D is the name of the game. Second is that there should be a strong partner in terms of a university, hospital. Sometimes you see large companies opening up their research parks for other companies as well. So anchor tenants which guarantee a continuous flows of thesis, PhDs, students, researchers, etc. You need an active innovation system so that know-how is not only there within the walls of that know-how provider, but that it's also transferable to companies who are at the park. And you need a high-quality park as well. So those are the 4 criteria which you really need to have to be named a science park, at least according to international standards. Now, an important element is also where are you really good at? And to say it in soccer terms, the university plays a lot of sports, but in which game are you really playing Champions League? So a lot of universities have a broad portfolio of research groups, technology domains, faculties, but you really have to map where are we really world class. Because technology, like music, is global. You cannot say, I find something very interesting and it's only applicable in the Amsterdam area. In the technology, if you invent something, new product, new process, new service, new technology, it's global. So you have to carefully look as a university, as a region, to identify what is in all the companies and research institutes we have, what is really top-notch what is really world-class. And if we talk about science parks, and if you talk about clusters and ecosystems, it's also clear that it's not only about real estate. It's not only about buildings and labs. You should have that technology connection. There should be talent available, venture capital for fast and growing company, business networks where you can benefit from. We see also, you see that more in the clock between 9 and 12, more general criteria which apply in many cases to vibrant cities, because with the urbanization and cities, also trying to identify what can we do with the know-how which is available at our university, our technology institutes, and our companies. So to develop a cluster and an ecosystem, it's not good enough to say we have land for lease. No, you really have to make these 12 success factors work as a cluster to have tenants. So from a real estate perspective, I think there are a couple of reasons why this evolving, this growing asset class is interesting. We see more and more technology-driven companies, startups. Also here at the Holland Metropole booth, there were various sessions, particularly focusing on startups. You see that more and more of these companies need a professional environment, because you could easily say, yeah, you can do it everywhere in the world, but it's not a standardized, routine-driven process. So if it's not standardized and not routine-driven, people want to sit together. That's the reason why we have valleys and clusters and science parks all over the world. So it's not the depth of distance. Distance matters if people want to work together to develop new technologies. The universities are eager, and also clusters and regions want science and research and technology parks. So real estate investors should be interested and should become more and more interested in what science parks have to offer. Now, you could argue there are risks as well. Yeah, but the vacancy rate, if you look at science parks in the UK and Holland and Germany, the vacancy rate is relatively low. Sometimes you have to offer low rents for startup companies in an incubator type of environment, but you can offset that by asking for higher rents or higher land prices for larger companies. Yes, there is a continuous turnover of SMEs because of all these startups, which are now great today. A number will die, but if the ecosystem is working, you would get a new generation of startups which could be in your building. We see also in various countries, France is very strong in that, the Netherlands and Germany as well, in co-financing of facilities, so that a building is not only a building, but that you have research facilities, labs, clean rooms, where you can benefit from. And what you have to deal with as a real estate investor is you have to deal with universities, and universities are not always easy to deal with. And you just get used to it. Let's say if you want to work in the science environment, science-related real estate, you have to find a way how you learn to speak the language of universities and research professors. As I mentioned before, there's more than real estate, and an international study done by our own firm is identifying 11 success factors which play a role in developing a science park. So you have that transfer, the know-how and technology anchor, the university, large medical research center, large division, R&D center of an international company. You have the shared research facilities, and you have the transfer of know-how. There should be an open exchange of ideas, and you can stimulate that. But you see also other elements which play a role. All stakeholders should be aligned. You need affordable buildings. You need talent, financing. So a successful science park is not only about building offices and labs and say, come here. You need this ecosystem, and you have to apply to 11 system, because as the picture shows, if one of these elements doesn't work, the ecosystem doesn't deliver what you hope to be, and the science park is not what it will be. So in summary, Richard, science parks is an evolving asset class all over Europe. There are initiatives. If you walk around this real estate exhibition, you see a lot of new initiatives in various cities. I think for real estate investors, it's becoming more and more interesting. There are still some hurdles, because you have to deal with sometimes difficult zoning plans, or with universities which are not used to work with real estate investors. But if you play it well as a real estate investor, I think you can really be successful. And as I mentioned before, success is the success of 4 types of people. Success of the tenants, the companies who find their vibrant environment, success of the university in transfer of know-how and getting new commercialization of their know-how, success for the real estate investor, and last but not least, success for the city of region. If you do it well, if you play this game well, all four will benefit. Thank you.